Hey guys, and welcome to the season opener of our Stars and Stripe and Maple Syrup. We have Chris Hurst with us today. Chris is originally from Sunderland, now living in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, cheers for having us. Appreciate it.
So the first question we have to ask, it's not like Albuquerque is the hub of all things America. How did you end up in New Mexico?
Yeah, I was at the University of Sunderland, and I got the opportunity to move out to the States for 9 months to coach football. And I was given the choice in February to move out either Wisconsin or New Mexico. I knew Wisconsin would be colder than hell. And I honestly didn't even know where New Mexico was. But once they told me it was in the middle of the desert, I thought, yeah, why not? I'll try that. And 19 years later, here I am.
It's just like living on the middle of Seaburn Beach, then, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now so obviously we were out for the tour. So we experienced a hot day in Albuquerque, and it's not fun. I mean, I'm guessing you're used to them now.
Nah, not at all. It's still brutal here. Like this is the only time I'm sitting outside right now, and this is the only time we get to use the outdoor space because it's still stupid hot here. But yes, I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. It's weird, isn't it? Like you like miss the rain. Well, I do anyway. Living in the desert, like it doesn't rain that much, so when it rains, it's like Shawshank Redemption. Go and stand out in it for a bit, you know.
Yeah, I get rain every day down here in Tampa, so it's like, and we're apparently we're the lightning capital of the world, so there's a lot of thunderstorms and lightning, which is
Yeah,
quite cool. But like, I look out the window now, it's raining now, and it's raining heavy now. And then in half an hour, it'll be back to sunny and dry.
yeah.
So
Not here. I think the last time it rained was during the lads' session out at the UNM when it
that
rained for
wasn't
about
really
10 minutes.
rain.
I know exactly that was it. That was the last time
It
it
was a bit drizzle. All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you keep yourself busy in New Mexico.
Yeah, so I'm a director of a soccer club here in New Mexico, Rio Rapids Soccer Club, and I've been with them since the start. Started just as a coach and then kind of gone up through the ranks where I've ended up being the director of the club. Got two little girls and wife and family here now as well, and my 10-year-old, she's banging to the lads as well and loves Sunderland. And obviously this trip, the tour this past summer, just grew that as well. My 6-year-old, she was excited just because her sister was excited. I don't think she really understood what was going on. But yeah, so keep myself busy, just coaching football and family life, really.
All right, and you have a little bit of a side gig as well, we understand.
Yeah. So I am the color commentator or what's that? What's it called? I don't even know what it's called back in England these days. But anyway,
Co-commentator.
yeah, the co-commentator. Yeah. So I am the Danny Collins of New Mexico United here with Tyler Ortega, and I've been doing that. So the very first year New Mexico United played was 2019. I did the first home game, and then we did the radio for ESPN Radio for the first year. Then during COVID, we still did a radio show, and ever since the lockdown stopped and everything, then with myself and Tyler, we've been on TV doing the ESPN Plus gig for them for the last 2.5 years now.
Enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good actually. Like at first, I was absolutely bricking it. Like I never thought I would ever be on TV commentating on games or anything like that. When I got approached for it, but now I don't know anyone who watched the Sunderland game. Me and Tyler, we just have a laugh with it. Like we don't take ourselves too seriously, and we turn off our Twitter notifications so we don't get too much abuse. Yeah, just have a laugh with it.
I've watched a couple of the New Mexico games since we played them, so it's and I watched them in actually they played Tampa Rowdies just before the tour started.
Yeah.
So I'd literally had been in Tampa 2 days, and I thought, you know what, let's go take a look.
Oh yeah, nice.
So I have a soft spot for New Mexico, although
especially since the tour, a lot of
yeah.
people, and vice versa. There's a bunch of New Mexico United front office staff. Tyler was texting me during the game this morning as well. Like they've all kind of taken a shine into Sunderland. So I think it's worked both ways where Sunderland fans like New Mexico or have a soft spot for them and vice versa,
All right, I suppose we're gonna have to get onto the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say a shit show, but it wasn't far off, to be honest.
To be fair, like how it started, I was buzzing. Like that first, I texted, there's like 5 of us here in New Mexico, the Sunderland fans, right? And we've got a little group chat. And I texted them, like, based on the first minute, we're freaking class here. Like this is brilliant. But you could see Ipswich starting to grow into the game. You could see they were going to be dangerous on the break. And just either side of half time, I feel like that was the same last year as well, right? That just either end of half, start of halves, we just didn't that 5 minute either side just killed us.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the way the ball came in. It was a weak header from. We had two players going for it with a weak header that just looped up, and then Daniel didn't get a proper connection on the header, and then it was always going to be Broadhead who scored against us.
Broadhead, and I mean, it was a shocking, like the deflection as well sent Patterson the wrong way. It was unlucky, but let's say it was just a terrible time to concede a goal, right?
Well, if the first goal was unlucky, the second goal was just awful.
Oh, it was shocking, wasn't it? Like that defending, like Luke O'Neill probably unfortunately showed a little bit about he's still not quite a fully fledged centre back, right? He just got caught running off his shoulder there.
Look, I like Luke O'Neill. I think he's a cracking player. I don't personally think if everybody's fit, there's a place for him in our starting 11, which is probably a little bit controversial with Sunderland fans.
Right.
But he's not good enough in midfield to oust Ekwa and Neil. I don't think he's as good as Bath or as Alessi, or I don't think these two kids, the young kids who came in, Steele and Triantis, is it?
Yeah.
I think they'll be their better options.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you don't start Danny Bath today. I know there was an article in I think it was Alan Nixon on Twitter saying that talks had broken down between the club and Bath on an extension.
Yeah.
And they're expecting Blackburn to come in with a bid.
Yeah.
Play your stronger side. I'm sorry, I used to say I like Luke O'Neill, but he's not better than Danny Bath. And Bath and Ballard were our best centre pairing all year.
100%. I mean, like, well, Danny Bath was our player of the season last year, right? And there's a reason for that. He was absolutely immense, you know. And I mean, you were out in San Antonio as well, right? Where Tony Mowbray was pretty open about talking about, he was like, you need to talk to the guys upstairs. I didn't realize at that time he actually meant KLD was upstairs until we're in New Mexico and he wandered in. I was like, hey, he actually is on the tour with the guy. So he was like pointing at him, but he's saying like, you know, Danny Bath wants some security, the time, which you can't blame him, right? Like the time he is in his career, he needs a little bit of security for his family, him and his family.
He's what, 31, 32?
I think.
I'd give him a 2-year extension.
100%.
I'll give him a year give him a 12-month with an option.
Yeah.
Like if you make X amount of appearances in your like obviously this season, so you give him a 1-year extension to the end of next season. And as long as he's making the right number of appearances, then it triggers an extension.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, everyone's talked about it, right? I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon or anything, but clearly we're a very young team, and any kind of experience in that group, you've got to try and keep some experience in there, right? I mean, look at that midfield today with Ekwa, Neil, and Job. By the way, Job, what a player we've got there. Jesus.
Yeah, I like Job. I mean, Mowbray said yesterday, I think in the interview, or pre-match interview, that it's going to be Job, Rigg, and Dak revolving in that position.
Yeah,
kind of seem to forget that we had Pritchard in the squad. But I can see Job taking the lion's share of those positions.
I know. I was reading somewhere else as well. It's like if Rigg comes in and does well as well, though, like because I mean that one little clip. Everyone's basing their analysis of Chris Rigg on that one clip against Mallorca, right? Where he just sat 3 of them down. But I mean, if he keeps coming onto the pitch and like,
but he was doing that. He was doing that in the US as well. He was fantastic in the States.
Absolutely looks the real deal as well. You know, like and I think if he doesn't play, obviously there's plenty of people sniffing around him right now. I think if he doesn't play, he'll be on his way. He's clearly being given some guarantees.
Yeah,
right, and same as Bellingham, right? Like, you know, yes, his brother. That's probably what most of the hype was around. But I didn't really pay much attention to him last year. But watching him, obviously in the flesh, you know, and seeing him in training and stuff on the US tour, and then just today, Jesus, like I can't believe he's only 17. Like, what an absolute tank!
And he's a beast of a guy as well. Like, he's a big lad.
And that was it. And like with the ball, he was so tidy on the ball, but there was a couple of crunching tackles he hit as well, where he's not afraid to get stuck in as well, you know, which is huge because that Ekwa looks a little more like that as well, where obviously he was playing a little deeper today, and like what he was against Mallorca as well. Dan Neil actually looks like the most lightweight out of the 3 of them in there, which you know, said that last year. He stepped into that Corey Evans role last year and did really well with it, you know.
I still think we need, and I never thought I'd be saying this, we need that experience in the centre of the park, though. A cool head who can calm everybody down.
That goal probably at the start of the second half, you know, where or like the end of the first half and the start of the second half, those happen probably because of how young and inexperienced our team is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's something to do with it, I would say.
But then again, if you look at last season, the goals we conceded at the end of at the start of halves, they kind of leveled themselves out with the goals that we scored throughout the game. So I mean, I'm not going to be too down on the first game of the season. We've got 45 games to make amends of that, but
there was plenty there today. There was plenty there today to be hopeful about as well. Like I said, like Job, Ekwa looked like an absolute beast in midfield as well. Jack Clark, you know, all the rumours before the game, he did not look like anyone who's got his head turned or anything like that.
No, and that was Ian Hart. And I mean, Hart was a shit hawk as a player. And to come out and say that on the first weekend of the season,
yeah,
it was a dick move.
Yeah, especially he just signed a new contract, wasn't it? Isn't he like first year of 3 or 4
year
years?
He's got 3 years remaining on his existing contract. Yeah. So look, I understand there was talks about extending his contract with both him and with Roberts.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm sure the players have sat down with people and said, look, let us get the transfer stuff out the way, and then we'll sit you down. With somebody like Ballard, it was probably we've got people sniffing around, and they have the capacity to be able to meet the valuation we have of you. So let's just tie you down on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, Hart was bang out of order.
No,
he really was.
Like you say, I think like Clark, considering, I mean, he would have heard it. I'm sure he knew what was going on in the background today. You know, like they hear that stuff, right? And he didn't look.
He definitely didn't play like a player who had his head turned and wasn't really committed to the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but no, I think Dan Ballard as well. Dan Ballard's absolutely immense.
Yeah, I thought I was a little bit disappointed with Hume.
Yeah,
getting himself sent off on the second booking. And that's where we seem to change our entire approach. Like we were a lot more the Sunderland of last season once Hume was sent off. Yeah. And it was annoying because we picked up the energy, we picked up the pace of play. We started playing the ball into feet and getting into the box, but then we were finding we were a man short, and that was what was frustrating for me today.
Yeah, I agree. I think once you know, I'm sure you're on the group chat as well, right? I think a few people have said, including myself, that we look better with 10 men, and I don't necessarily. That's an easy comment to say, right? But it was more just because of the I don't know if it was the desperation or what, right? But the structure had gone, so we're just like sod it, like carefree, which is what worked for us so well last year. We were just carefree. We're just like sod it, let's just play. And once we started doing that again, I mean, that chance for Dan Neil right at the end, my dogs, I was screaming.
Yeah, it was a good save. When you look at it, I thought he just hit the straight off the post, but when you look at the replay, saved it with his foot.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, we had chances. Definitely, we had a decent amount of chances. So I'm not overly concerned about this. Yeah, I would have liked to have won our first game. But I think there were some things that were made glaringly obvious today. And I know that fans have been talking about it all summer. And I know that when we were speaking with the staff, both from a director perspective down to Mowbray and the players, they know what we need. We know. And I don't look. I mean, I'm loving this kind of investing in youth thing, but I think we need to pick up a striker who's in his prime.
Yep.
Maybe pay some money for a striker.
What was those rumors before the game? Something about 8 million for. I think it was for a winger though, but I didn't see what the name was.
I didn't see any rumors before the game.
Yeah.
I think Nixon had said something. So I think, and again, Nixon's a shite hawk, so I don't really pay too much attention to what he says. But someone mentioned 3 players, and Nixon said Monday should be interesting.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, okay, well. So my understanding is we've put an offer in for some Ukrainian kid again. I think apparently apparently we're in for Pierre Van Hooydonk's kid.
Oh.
Who's at Bologna at the moment. And then I think I did say, if you want to get all the trashy gossip, you just go to News Now and have a look at what they're saying. There was a one that I saw that I didn't really get to reading. That's Celtic. It's a youth international striker. So, there it is. £6.8 million rated French international attacker.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like, and that's the going back to what you said about investing in the youth, and I think I think it's very similar to you, which is I think it's great. It's the most fun. Last year was the most fun I've had watching Sunderland for God knows how long, and part of that is because of the kids just didn't give a crap. They just went for it.
Yeah,
and it cost us at times as well, right? But it was fun to watch. It was, it really was. But Corey Evans was so important. If he'd stayed fit, I think the season could have been different. Danny Bath was huge for us, and him getting injured at the end of the year, probably that was the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. That was the final nail in the coffin of us not going up kind of thing. But yeah, so the band. But it sounds like Tony Mowbray did that talking with the select group of fans on, was it Friday? I think it was. Or
yeah,
Thursday?
I heard about that. Yeah,
he said something to the effect of, "There's no senior players really on the radar. It's all going to be youth that we're bringing in, and that's the model." But at the same point, you know what? How many signings has Speakman got wrong? Maybe
not many.
The Hadjis, maybe one where he didn't really set the world.
But did he get it wrong? I mean, he was here. He only came in January.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And from what depending on obviously who you're listening to, we've sold them for anything from 4 to 7 million.
Yeah, with 6 months. 6 months profit.
Yeah, so that's not bad. Like if I went out and bought something for $1.3 million on Monday and could sell it in February for 3 to 5 million, I'd be happy with that profit.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. So I think everyone's kind of, I don't know, it's the first time in a long time where there's been some kind of trust, especially on the field stuff with Sunderland, right? Like we've done a lot of stuff wrong over the years. Jesus, some of the signings, like
actually, it just popped up in my one of my Facebook memories this week. This week, just gone, marked the anniversary of signing Papi Djilabodji.
Oh Jesus!
And the only thing I can say positive about his time at Sunderland is his name sounded like what the noise you make when you fart in the bath. That was the statement I read when he signed him. Someone said, "Who? Isn't that the sound you make when you fart in the bath?" And I was like, I mean, that's just the best description ever.
That's absolutely class. It was him and wasn't it Didier and Dong? We got him instead of Jan and Via. He was the answer. Them were the days, right?
I mean, that didn't even make sense at the time.
No.
Like Jan and Vila sat at Newcastle Airport just waiting for a taxi. And we're like, you know what, let's go find somebody who has no idea what they're doing, has an attitude problem, and doesn't care.
Yeah, and has a stupid haircut.
Yeah.
Says the bald
man. So question for you. Yeah. Does the lack of goals from strikers say to you that we should just pay Stuart what he wants, or do we maintain discipline with our wage structure and see if we can get him to convince him into a...
It's probably quite literally the $1 million question right there, isn't it? Because the unknown right now, like I can almost see why Sunderland, the club, are stuck between a rock and a hard place, aren't they? Like that injury, Achilles injuries, have finished off much bigger and better players than Ross Stewart. That's a hard one to come back from, and I know he didn't do it completely, but it was a rupture essentially, right? Just not quite hard as what they're there. Yeah. So there's no telling what he's going to come back from that. But we missed him today. We were talking in our group chat. We're like, Amir's a big boy. Get the ball into his feet. He's fine. Get the ball in wide areas. Seems decent from what we've seen so far. But he's not going to run channels for you. No. And that's what Stuart gives us. We need someone who's going to stretch the game for us. And that was what was really lacking in my mind. So I tell you what, Hamir, first ever professional game, I think it took 20 minutes for him to get his first touch today. And it was that one that just flashed wide. So, like, you get the ball in wide areas, he's a handful. And he'd look decent, later on in the first half with the ball into his feet. But he needs time, like, to put the...
No, we spoke with Mowbray when we were in New Mexico at the fans event.
Yeah.
And he said, look, the kid hasn't played like real football in 6 months. Like, he hasn't played competitive football in 6 months. He's come to us a little bit out of shape. And so he's probably 3 or 4 months behind the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
He said, so he's trying hard to get into where he needs to be, and he's going to be a beast. Like, Mowbray is looking forward to working with him, he said.
Yeah.
But it's just getting there.
Yeah, exactly. But I imagine having the weight of this club as you're the one and only striker right now.
Yeah. I think looking at the Stewart situation, we just jump back. I think it. I mean, like I've played enough Football Manager to know that there are bonuses and appearance.
Yeah.
I mean, I would incentivize his appearances and his goals on Stuart's contract. So yeah, like you might not be making 15, 20 grand a week, but if you're playing and scoring, you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I tell you what, we definitely can't sell them to that lot down the road, though. Like, Borough are the ones who are big rumors of being interested. There'll be mutiny if that happens, I would imagine.
See, I just don't care about Middlesbrough. I'll be honest with you. I don't see them as a derby game. I only have one derby game.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, I don't deny that. I mean, obviously, like, you said, I actually grew up in Prudhoe, which is all Mags, in between Newcastle and Hexham. So Newcastle is my derby. My brother-in-law is a Smoggy, but other than that, I'm not really that bothered. But still, I know there's a lot of people who do see that. But even then, it's more. It's not necessarily that they're a derby or anything like that. It's more they are a rival. Like they're probably about the same. We're going to be fighting for similar kind of positions, similar in the table, that kind of stuff. Although they had a rough result at the start of the year as well, right?
Yeah, I think they got beat down yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah. I think was it 2-1 or 3-1?
I'll be honest with you. I was helping plan a wedding yesterday that I was at last night. So I didn't catch much of the football over the weekend. I know that Southampton had like 1 million passes on Friday night. I'll probably watch the championship show on demand and catch up with it. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't get a chance. I think Leeds drew right at the last, like at the death kind of thing.
I was watching that Leeds game.
Yeah.
And I don't think Leeds are going to be anything special this season. I mean, the fact they came back with Cardiff are going to struggle this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the big takeaway that I've seen a lot this year is that Cardiff are tipped to be one of the 5 teams most at risk of going down.
Right.
And the fact that Leeds went down 2-0 at home softly in the first half, I give them credit for fighting back, but yeah, I think they might struggle this season.
QPR, man, everyone's favourite man, Gareth Ainsworth, sacked by Labour Day?
That's September 1st, right?
Yeah,
he might. I mean, that's that. Hang on, in terms of how long that lifespan, that's 2 Watford managers from now.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah, good
Although
point.
I think Watford did get a good win yesterday, didn't they? I think they're 4-0.
Yeah, so. It's this league, man. It's going to be absolutely mad this year because Plymouth started off with a win as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think Ballymumba scored a screamer for them. Apparently, I think I remember seeing that. But I mean, for me, look, it's the first game of 46. We've still got a month left, nearly in the transfer window, plus January transfer window. I have faith in the ownership structure. So hopefully they'll get it right. We'll bring in a striker or 3 players. The expensive winger that we were talking about is Rennes player Mathis Ablin.
Oh.
So I mean, I've never heard of him, but I'd never
heard of Ross Stewart before he turned up either.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time we signed a player that I'd actually heard of.
Bradley Dack, but that was just because he was rumored all last year. With the Tony Mowbray kind of links,
But just swinging back to the game real quick.
Yeah.
A player who's rumored to be on his way. I mean, I heard last week that he was heading to Shrewsbury. I know from speaking with him in New Mexico that he wants to stay. His family's here. Yeah. His ideal goal would be to sign another contract with Sunderland and then maybe at the end of that one move back to the US and play in San Jose. Is Gooch.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the energy in the team lifted considerably when he came on. He may not be able to have that really nice crisp interplay with Roberts the way that Hume does.
Right.
But I think he gives the team more of a lift than nearly any other player on that squad.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say the same about Pritchard as well, right? Like he had a good preseason, but Gooch, like you get what he does exactly what he says on the tin, right? Like it's a bit rough around the edges, but he's going to work his bollocks off as well, like, geez. And, right near the end, he was the one, he was trying to do people up and get to the end line and cross it in. And it was ugly the way he was trying. He was basically trying to just bulldoze through it. He wasn't, like you say, he's not like Roberts where he's little intricate stuff, but he's exactly that. And, he does. He was born in America, but he's a Macam, isn't he? Like,
it annoyed me. So the commentator on ESPN Plus was like, they signed him from San Jose
Breakers.
I'm like, he was 12 when he came here. He didn't sign from anybody.
I heard that as
Ah,
well. I had a little giggle at that as well, yeah. But no, it happened with him the last contract that he signed as well. He was about, I think it was probably Shrewsbury again, wasn't it? Shrewsbury are
yeah.
best to be like snap up any ex-Sunderland players, it seems, isn't it? That's Winchestino's down there, right? And uh, who's the centre back? We just loaned them as well, the lad from Everton that we got.
Oh, Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson's just gone there as well, and I'm sure there's another one. Oh, what was he called? Andy O'Brien was there last year. I think he's left now. He's gone and playing non-league now, but he was there as well, I think. But yeah,
Oh,
so
Aidan O'Brien.
Aidan O'Brien,
Yeah.
sorry. Andy O'Brien, Jesus wept. What a mistake to make there, huh? But yeah, no, like I say, it'll be interesting what happens because all the rumours was Pritchard, Bath, and Gooch as being like on the way out this week. But then with
Mhm.
Trice getting that red card today, we'll probably need Gooch at least the next week because he'll probably slot in at that right back spot, you would imagine.
I mean, look, I think getting rid of any of those three players would be a mistake.
Me too. I
I think
agree.
I think the experience and nous that they bring on the field and in the changing room, um, I'd rather lose them for free 12 months from now than make a small amount of money on them now. Because let's be
I,
honest, Gooch is going to be what 250, 300,000. Danny Bath maybe 500,000.
yeah,
Pritchard probably going to be about the same.
yeah,
He's not the player that was an 8, 12, 15 million pound player a few years ago.
right.
So for the money that we would make on them, I think the better value is to keep them and let them move on next season.
I agree. I think they're some of the higher earners, right? Isn't that why they're considering it?
Yeah, but if we're penny pinching like that,
Yeah,
I mean, I know that the model that KLD wants is to be sustainable, and I'm 100% behind that. I really am. But we've got 44,000 in there today.
yeah,
37,000 season tickets sold.
yeah.
I mean, it puts a lot of bums on seats when you've got players that people want to go and see.
Yep.
And it's not like I can't imagine any of those three are on kind of like club destroying salaries.
Oh no, they're not going to be earth shattering, that's for sure. But yeah, you're right as well. Like you said about Gooch coming on today, improved the energy. I'd say the same for Pritchard as well. Like, and that's not obviously I really like Bellingham, but I think it was the right time to get Pritchard in there, who's just a little more buzzing around. Like Jovi's.
I think I'd like to see Pritchard just playing off of Hemir.
Yeah,
I mean, Pritchard for us was at his best just playing off Stewart.
yeah.
So if we
Yeah.
can get that kind of dynamic going,
But that was like the New Mexico game, right? Like that Pritchard, the Humia goal was Pritchard just looking up and just put that ball in the box, and Humia did his thing with his body and just shielding the ball away, and he did it again.
I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I mean, there was a lot of day drinking going on. I remember Ekwa's goal because it was a screamer.
Yeah,
And that's about all I remember from the game.
I tell you what,
Apparently, my ass was on display on ESPN Plus.
I must have missed that.
Good lucky for you.
I tell you what, when that goal went in from Ekwa, the only thing I wanted to say was Thunder Bastard, and I managed to stop halfway through. I was like, Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt. So like, yeah, that's how you get fired pretty quick here.
All right, well, Chris, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We'll definitely get you back on during the season. As with everybody that comes on the pod, we do our charity bet. We muffed it this week. Sean had said he was going for a 1-1 draw with Hemir scoring at any time, and obviously it didn't happen. And I went with a 2-0 Sunderland win. So we have Preston away on Saturday of this week, or next week, technically. What do you reckon?
I reckon it's first away game as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And we
I
were
think
much better away from home last season than we were.
that'll be the first. That'll be a win. So I'll go 2-1. Do you need scorers as well?
No.
Oh.
2-1. I'm just having a look to see what Preston did this week. They drew with Bristol City away. I'll go for a cheeky 1-0 win.
I just can't see us keeping a clean sheet right now, the way that we're defending.
I don't think Preston have really got anybody of note, though. I mean, if they sign, because they're rumored to be signing the kid from Everton that we're allegedly interested in.
Right, yeah.
But I don't think they've really got. If I look at their starting lineup, yeah, like these guys could all these guys could come over for a barbecue and I wouldn't know what they did for a living. I say that because I've got brisket in the smoker at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
So all right, so I will get those bets on. Obviously, as I've always, the bets are going to go to charity for whatever we win. The soup kitchen in Sunderland is what I've chosen this year. Chris, thank you very much for stopping by, mate.
Appreciate you having me on. Look forward to the next one.
All right, guys, that's all we have time for this week. We'll be back next week with a Preston. We have, if you remember Jody from last season, we have Jody's brother-in-law coming on. He's a right bell end. You'll see why next week. We will see you all next week. Thank you very much for stopping by.